Did you hear?
Hello, viewers, and welcome to the very first episode of the brand new series, Overrated and Underrated. Now, we
Quick
are...
question
Yes.
for all of you. Try and decide whether my eyes are open through this or not.
And we open with the race joke. Fucking perfect. Anyway.
Oh, that sounded
Set the stage
racist.
right.
I was just asking because I was squinting. You got a problem here?
Alright, so we have...
Our local mustard-blooded for Will.
Isaac.
True.
We have the John Human. We have...
The glorious Eridan Ampora.
And I'm April. Anyway, we are waffling. The point of the show is going to be going over different characters, story arcs, franchises, series, what have you. They get far, far too much hate than they deserve, or are just, underrated in general. And today's topic is going to be...
Me.
Eridan Ampora.
Let us begin.
So,
Like it should always be.
Yes, the topic shall always be Eridan Ampora. Anyway, so, starting from the beginning, I want you guys to imagine yourselves just growing up on a planet where royalty means everything. Just everything. It's probably the most important thing that there is.
So, Republicans.
Sounds like Hollywood.
Yes, yes, Republican Hollywood. Imagine you're growing up in Republican Hollywood, and you're royal-blooded. Now also imagine that you are spending basically your entire life without any friends at all. And suddenly, you get a friend, and you make them your entire world. And then suddenly, just seemingly out of nowhere, upon being trapped in a session that you cannot escape from, with a bunch of people who are both lower-blooded than you, and pretty much dislike you, like, openly.
You mean can't fucking stand me?
Yes, can't fucking stand him. And you're trapped in a session with him, and then your friend just up and abandons you for seemingly no reason. Now, a lot of people go on to say that Theferi felt driven away from Eridan because he wanted to make their moral allegiance into something a bit more red. But that is complete and utter bullshit because
She came to me with important fucking news, which I then found out was dumping me.
at the exact same time that Eridan had mentioned wanting to turn the relationship a bit more red. In fact, she had given her news before Eridan could get anything out. Because he volunteered for her to go first, she broke up with their moral allegiance, and then he said, okay, well, maybe that's good, because you wanted to make it a bit more red. So, yes, we've discussed a little bit on Theferi, but, and I'm sure Eridan's going to love this sentence, we'll get back to it later.
You should have heard the first fucking record. Every 5 seconds.
Yes, this is the second time we're recording because Facebook and YouTube are dicks, and this is probably going to be on YouTube, so YouTube, you're a fucking dick. Anyway, the loss of the only friendship that actually mattered to Eridan was definitely not good for his development as a Prince of Hope. And then we have to get into how he dealt with other trolls. Now, mind you, myself, Carcat, which I'm not going to do the fucking voice, my throat is still scratchy from coughing. Anyway.
On the mythical first record, he spent the entire thing in character.
Let's not refer back to the first record, okay? There's a lot of stuff in there we don't want to relive.
No, we gotta always refer to the first record. The
Yep.
first record was perfect, but YouTube refuses.
Yes, it refuses just like anything that goes near Krona Ampora. Anyway, so dealing with Carcat was really the only friend that he felt he had during the entire session. The only person he could talk to about all of the bullshit that had just gone on with Theferi. I mean, sure, Carcat was a dick to him, but Carcat's a dick to everybody. So there's not really any way to interpret that other than, well, that's just how Carcat treats his friends.
No, that's just how Carcat is in general. I think he'd be a dick to his food if he could.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You just have to see past the grouchy gray shell to the soft cheddary center.
No, inside that snare is
Fuck,
still
I'm
another
hungry.
dick.
Well-
But that's who he is, so we can't judge him on it.
Now,
True that.
and again, we'll be
Apply
getting...
literally any of that to Eridan, because it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
I'm an
not true.
asshole, but everyone hates me.
Not
Carcat's
true.
an asshole, but everyone loves him.
You're a different type of asshole.
A very prideful asshole, whereas Karkat's just an asshole to everybody. Which, I mean, Karkat gets a ton of love. Hey, fucking even Equius gets a ton of love compared to Eridan. Because I can't go through message boards without seeing people question the very concept of Eridan actually having a fan base. Calling his fans insane. Liking Cronus, the character that was made to embody what the fandom thought Eridan was and prove them wrong, is the character that gets even more love than him, and sometimes ranked higher on character lists. Because his rejections are funny, but whenever Eridan gets rejected for wanting a friend, it's just painful and he should just fucking die.
More so because of how his prideful nature, it makes him seem more arrogant, which is why I believe he has so much more hate.
Yes, but Equius
People
is
hate an arrogant character.
Equius is a massive arrogant boss.
And
But not
adding
by
on
birth.
adding on to arrogance, he's also got the creep factor of getting off on literally everything you say. Just, I require a towel. And we'll be touching up on these relationships a bit later. Just seeing all of the breath going into Eridan's body as we say this. Next thing, Nepeta. The very next person that Eridan spoke to, like immediately after Fefri breaking off their friendship. The next person, because he was her server player and she his client player, so he saved her life and brought her into the game, and sure, probably did a bit of solicitation, but mainly out of just wanting to get a friend, because again, he only actually had one true friend his whole life, who just broke off their friendship before getting in. And yes, Fefri said that they'd still be friends, but, as will prove, that was complete bullshit as well. Because it wasn't so much friendship she wanted as it was just being civil.
Well, what you don't understand, Fef, is that we're being civil just by virtue of us talking here.
Exactly. It wasn't so much about keeping a friendship, because she immediately ignored Eridan literally up until he eventually flipped. So, and when coming up to him, when he came up to her, the very only thing she said is, well, yeah, just want to be civil. Like, not have friends, just not make another enemy. But yeah, going back to Nepeta, the only person that he communicated immediately afterward, it's probably going to have a bit of solicitation because he just wants to have some kind of friendship like he had with Fefri. Wants to have some kind of connection because, again, the only person in the session he actually knew about and had some kind of care for just left him. So why not try and make some new friends? But of course, being the naturally arrogant dick that he is, and some fault on Eridan's side for just being so prideful, he missed out on that. Now moving on to Kanaya.
I actually don't think he missed out so much as his attempts failed, but by coming on stronger, he salvaged some sort of relationship, which if he hadn't really had one, any type of feedback is still feedback.
Yeah, and I mean, Nepeta shows later on that she didn't outright hate him, even if she found him a little creepy with how strong he came on for just wanting some kind of friendship, if not, or a mateship, if not a friendship. But she at least shows that she had some kind of care or disappointment that he died by mentioning that it was tragic that he died, and even if he was a bit of a jerk sometimes. Now moving on to Kanaya, though, the person he considered his mentor because she made him
my science stick.
Exactly. She gave him the one thing that he needed, and can actually be quoted as saying,
all I needed was someone to show a little faith in me is all.
Exactly. Eridan went through his entire life being told he was going to go on to do great things, destroy a great wizard, but then also dealing with everyone treating him like shit. Again, a royal dick. I mean, lower bloods are of course not going to show as much respect for royalty, because, again, they're lower on the blood caste, but still. Him getting the science stick gave him some kind of faith that he can still be great. It gave him some kind of hope. And as the Prince of Hope, literally the only thing he was lacking was any kind of faith in himself, which is what held him back from actually developing properly. And Kanaya moved him a bit forward with that. And again, we'll be touching on Kanaya and Karkat later on. I'm going to keep saying that. Vriska. his former kismissus, who, from his
Spoiler,
perspective...
we're never going to come back to any of this.
Vriska, the former kismissus...
It was on the first record. You all missed it, people.
broke up with him for presumably, from his perspective, no reason, and then cut ties with him entirely. Which, of course, it was Vriska reliving Mindfang's memories, and since she had broken up with Dualscar, i.e. Krona, i.e. Eridan's ancestor, well, breaking it off with Eridan is, of course, the next way to relive that step of her life. Of course, for Eridan, the kismissitude was obviously something a bit more real, because, again, someone who has such limited actual relationships in his life. I mean, hell, his seahorse Lucis dad was just kind of there, based on what we can tell from his actual behavior. But yeah, Vriska completely cuts ties with him, and that's the last he actually gets to hear of that, because she blocks him, and then when he does actually get through to messaging her, she blocks him again, because she just doesn't want to deal with him, because, well, there wasn't really anything there to begin with. And let's address the elephant in the room when we go to Solix. Now, Solix is somebody who, to be fair, Eridan probably wouldn't have much communication with otherwise. The only reason he had such a deep, burning hatred for Solix is because he's the next person that Fefri went to after the two of them broke up. He's the guy that Fefri decided to start dating after she ended their friendship, and he saw that as a threat. He saw that as the reason why their friendship ended, and not because Fefri had made a friendship out of necessity. Because, well, let's face it, as the heir to the throne, and the highest of troll royalty, Fefri was doing her job as a noble, just making a friendship out of a need, and when that need is no longer necessary, well, there's no real reason to keep that friend around. Again, Eridan was a bit overbearing, because this was his only friendship, so that just continued to grate on her to the point where she couldn't really stomach being his friend anymore, but there were better ways to handle that on both sides.
Honestly, it's more his arrogance that did it. I don't think he so much saw it as his only friendship why he went out to it. He's so arrogant to think that anyone can think of anyone besides himself is an absurd thought. I don't think he can have a friendship unlike the one they had, simply because of the way he is.
Well, I don't know, because his friendship with Karkat, whatever semblance of anything that it was, I mean, sure, Eridan did a bit of flirting here and there because he wanted to have some kind of deeper quadrant, but he'd have been perfectly fine just having some kind of communication. I mean, let's not forget that pretty much every troll was ignoring him throughout the session.
That is
all right,
true.
Let me bring this in from the first record, because we're never going to get it in otherwise. Every troll treats me like crap, 100% all the time. And unless I want to assume that every single troll out there hates me completely, I'm going to have to assume that they're either just being friend enemies, or it's actual Caligulous solicitations. Which means every single kind thing that happens to me, every time someone's nice to me, it comes completely blown out of proportion. I think it must be a romantic gesture, which is probably what happened with Nepeta. She's nice to me and actually asked what happened with Fefri, so
because
she must like me.
Being someone who handles a lot of ships and, is a rogue of heart, she's going to care about that kind of shit that goes on with people. She's going to care about people emotionally and try to help them out whenever she can.
And
but
overall, you have to keep in mind, at the time, they were all just, 13 years old. This whole thing, I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, and even in the human society, a lot of this stuff makes a lot of sense. It would be how a lot of kids would probably react if, that was their only
but a
friend,
lot of the kids aren't
the
royalty
rich.
either.
Well, even the rich kids.
Yeah, if you did try to apply it to any kind of human dynamic, just think of royalty as really, really rich kids. I mean, this is going to be a really weird comparison, but my sister watched a fuck ton of Gossip Girl, and I can totally see that type of bullshit going on. Royalty being just the extremely rich kids there, and everyone else just going lower on the economic spectrum. And, of course the rich kids are going to hang out with each other, even if they don't really like one another that much, which was the case with Fefri and Eridan.
Except Fef fucking refused. She just cut all ties as soon as we enter the game.
Yep. And that left Eridan completely friendless, like with nothing else going on. Quick touch up on the other trolls and their interactions with Aridin. Gamzee, I mean, we didn't really get to see that much. Aridin was, of course, a bit turned off by Gamzee's complete just hopefulness and exuberance and just his religion, but so was fucking everybody else. So it's the same basic thing. There wouldn't have
Turned
been
off, or so much that he was kind of it made him uncomfortable. All he'd ever known was himself. To be selfless was an alien thought.
And for anyone to just be happy when all of your friends and everybody in your race is just grouchy dicks, that's off-putting. That's uncanny. There's got to be something wrong with that dude. And of course, it's because
He was
Gamzee's
right.
fucking high and burying all of his rage and acting as the lightning rod for all of the hate of all of his friends. But that's a tale for a different story. Now, of course, let's just touch up on this one because I love hearing Aridin talk about it. Tavros!
You know full well I can't read that thing from here.
Well, we don't have anything.
No, we don't.
Why didn't Aridin and Tavros communicate?
Oh, right, because fuck, I can't remember what I was going to say.
Because Tavros, the way the conversation would have gone would be Aridin not wanting to speak to Tavros because of how low his blood cast is, and how unconfident everything he says is, all the ums and uhs. And then Tavros would have just been scared to communicate with Aridin because Aridin's a dick. So there would have been literally nowhere for the conversations to go.
Tao wouldn't even have...
Technically, also, Tavern being lower blood, it would have been very dangerous to hold long conversations. One screw up, and well, you just insulted royalty, essentially.
And Tavros wouldn't have even messaged Vriska if he had a choice.
That is very true.
And keep in mind, Vriska potentially is Horstad if we go with the fucking fan art, but let's try and keep that fully out. And Fefri, the three biggest friends and relationships he's had in his life, all cut ties with him. All three of them. I mean, sure, he probably had other royal acquaintances that he'd have been much happier to be in a session with.
But it's too fucking late for that.
Right, Fef trapped him in the session and then cut ties. And then everyone else just kind of ignored him. Then again, I'm sure they wouldn't have been as big of ignoring had Aridin not been slaughtering all of the angels on his planet as soon as he set foot on it.
Well, somebody needs to kill him.
Just so many fucking angels.
They're so feathery, angry, and many of them. There's so goddamn many of them, Car.
And
Although, if you put the feather angels into a pillow, I imagine
They just fucking disappear when you kill them. They don't even leave any grist.
that's such a waste. They should be more considerate than leave a corpse.
now, moving on to the actual session itself. After the trolls had, gotten to creating their universe, and as soon as they were about to step in, God damn it, Aridin.
Well, what's a what? Haters gonna hate.
Yeah. Fucking God damn it.
I don't even know why we're doing this video. No one's gonna change their mind.
I'm sure we can at least sway some fucking
Oh, there's enough people dedicated out there that it'll reach some ears.
It'll reach some people. I mean,
One.
it'll... Yeah. But yeah, trapped in a session that as soon as Jack comes in, everybody lost their hope and figured they were going to die. Aridin, being the Prince of Hope, whose job is to keep everybody fucking level, keep everybody's shit in check and make sure no one gets too big for their britches or their ambition just takes over. It's Aridin's job just to keep everyone fucking grounded. But everyone's already not only grounded, but just firmly fucking burying themselves. There's literally no job for him. No one wants him there. No one's speaking to him, and there's literally no purpose for him to serve. So the only option he has is to sit on the meteor with everybody else and wait to die. Now, for
That's
someone who's
essentially
proud royalty, is that really an option you expect him to accept? The same thing fucking Tavros was willing to do back in his hive? The fact that he's just willing to sit there and wait and possibly die? No, of course. Royalty's not going to fucking do that.
And that Jack guy seems to be destroying a lot of hope. Maybe he could use the services of a Prince of Hope.
Not only that, but Andrew Hussey seems to agree with this type of shit because what do we always see with Mina?
Royalty takes a delicate touch. You need to be very careful with royalty.
And what did Aridin not receive? Anything resembling a fucking delicate touch.
Which could explain why he deviates from what you would expect him to do a lot of the time.
And let's move on to the scene that everyone is going to use to explain why he is the absolute worst and deserves all of the hate that he gets. Killing Fefri, killing Kanaya, and then destroying the Matra Orb, thus dooming the trolls to extinction.
Kanaya just sicked Solix on me. She literally just
Fefri.
ordered Solix to kill me.
Fefri.
You know who I meant.
Anyway, mind you, when Eridan comes back from the lab in that scene, in Act 5, Act 2, Part 21, everything that they could have done wrong in communicating with Eridan goes wrong. He goes there, clearly to speak to the only 3 people who have actually mattered to him, Karkat, Kanaya, and Fefri, to offer them a chance to come with him. So first person he goes to, Kanaya. And their conversation goes in a positive way. And then Kanaya explains that, nope, she was just being sarcastic. She didn't realize how sarcastic she was being, and apologizes to him. But keep in mind, Eridan has dealt with much worse this entire time, so whatever rude thing she could have said isn't going to faze him at this point.
Actually, you'd be surprised. I think that was one of the start. It started him sliding down the slope to his eventual transgression.
I should probably let you know this is literally right before he massacres them all.
I know it's right before he massacres
Well,
them
yeah,
all.
this is definitely what puts him in the mindset of not giving shit about even the last few people that he had some kind of care for. So then he goes to Karkat, who spends his time being his typical screaming dick self. And what does Eridan say when Karkat starts insulting him?
Look, bring up the thing for me.
Okay.
I don't fucking need this shit from you. I take enough shit from the rest of you dirt scrapers as it is.
Exactly. He's dealt with all of this bullshit from all of his supposed friends, and Karkat's the only person who's been relatively nice to him since entering the session, if you don't count Kanaya, which, of course, he's not going to, because she just explained her kindness was basically sarcasm as it was. So, Karkat starts insulting him, berating him, and then calling him fucking stupid for, murdering angels, which, to be fair, was a fucking stupid idea, but...
It's my job, Car.
He's the Prince of Hope, and meant to take on Lord English. So, yeah, he was going to kill them anyway.
That was kind of his calling.
I'm counting down here.
And then you move on to Fefri. He goes to Fefri because he wants to bring the final person with him. Just the final friend, since he can't bring Karkat or Kanaya, since both of them just proved that they don't really appreciate their friendship. Maybe go to the one friend that he actually could count on back before the session started. Maybe this session is what caused them to have a huge falling out. But what does she do? He says that he's going to leave. She sicks Solix on him, so a chance at a rematch with Solix. Nearly kills him, but Solix's eye blasts stop it. What does Fefri do? She comes at him with a fucking trident.
So, zappy zap zap, you're dead.
Intent to kill. Then Eridan, upon shooting Fefri, realizes everything that he just did. Realizes that, oh, fuck, I just killed Fef. And turns to leave. What does he see? Kanaya holding the lipstick, about to turn it into a chainsaw.
And fucking staring me down. You should have seen the death stare she was giving me.
So what does he do? Destroy the Matra Orb to bait her into attacking him. I mean, best course of action that there is. It's either that, or you try and move past her, hope she doesn't turn into a chainsaw, and then hope she doesn't chase after you. Well, no, she's the next person who's armed and ready to attack you. And people act as though committing genocide on the trolls was the worst thing that he could do, because when people think of the trolls, they think of the fan art that they create, they think of the adorable ships and things that they support, while ignoring the fact that, well, trolls are a cancer on their fucking galaxy. Oh my god, they're the worst kind of fucking warrior race that there is. Just entirely bred to destroy and conquer everything in their line of sight. So the destruction of the trolls is probably the best thing that could have possibly fucking happened. Even if it didn't seem like it.
I argue not so, because then it leaves the hole. You can't take them out of the equation. They are what created the strength. Persecution makes strength.
Yeah, but nah. I mean, there's though Klingons just had a huge orgy with the Empire, and then the fucking Borg. Yeah.
True.
And everything that they come across is destroyed. or conquered. One of those two. So they are literally the worst thing that can happen to any universe that has them. So Eridan destroying them, while that wasn't his intent, was still a very good end. And you can prove that Eridan wasn't even wanting to kill anybody by a few other factors. One, upon ending his conversation with Kanaya, if the reader inspects the Matra Orb, he says, an exact quote, "Gotta help Kanaya with this as soon as your business is done here. Hope is your jurisdiction on this meteor." He wasn't intending on everyone to just attack him. He wasn't intending on killing anyone. He wanted to help her hatch the Matra Orb, as it was. But
arguably, subconsciously, he might have. The simple fact that he was there, when they weren't necessarily needing him, he almost seemed wanting a confrontation. Going back where he knew he was not welcome.
Well, he just wanted to bring the last of his friends along with him, and he spoke to every single last person he considered his friends before leaving.
Yeah, and upon seeing that they really didn't like him at all, well, then what's the purpose of him staying around? He just wanted to leave clean. But Fefri sent Solix on him, Fefri attacked him, and then Kanaya was preparing to attack. And, again, proof that he wasn't going to kill anyone, or he didn't want to kill anyone, he leaves Karkat standing there, alive. Because, well, he's not going to attack him. He doesn't have his weapon ready. And it's fucking Karkat. What's the point in killing him? He doesn't want to cause so much bloodshed.
Gamzee intentionally goes on a murder spree, and everyone still loves him.
Yeah, Gamzee goes sober, decides to go on a killing spree, literally tells them that he's going to kill, he's going to motherfucking kill all you motherfuckers! And everyone still loves him.
Everyone forgives him.
Everyone forgives Gamzee, everyone still loves him, no matter what bullshit he causes. And Gamzee is an enjoyable character, but then again, so is Eridan. In fact, the entire point of having Gamzee and Eridan do what they did was so Hussey could have the two joke characters of the troll session go dark. Wanted to see what would happen if these characters do fucking go bad. And people talk about Equius and still show him a lot of love, but also talk about how Eridan was just creepy and flirtatious. But let's not forget that Equius was literally orgasming at everything everyone told him. That's why he needed a towel. I doubt there are any, 8-year-olds that haven't figured that out yet. Seriously, he was coming every time they spoke. Every time they gave him an order. Every time he ordered them. Literally anything. He was having an orgasm. Fucking Horus makes a dick the way that he introduces his messages because he thinks it's a smile. That's again to show how fucking creepy the Zahak line is. But no. Eridan gets all of the hate.
Well, he did end the characters that we love.
Well,
it may not be so much his actions, it's that he's the one who brought down the trolls. And let's face it, the trolls were such a fun race to follow.
Yes, but Kanaya comes back to life as it is.
And Solix is only half dead.
Yes, but at the time we don't know that.
Plus, Solix doesn't even get his half... Yeah. Solix is half dead, Kanaya comes back to life, and then hunts down and kills Eridan, and everyone gets to cheer. Because, well, yeah, Kanaya was an enjoyable character, but still using that as a perfect comeuppance for Eridan. Fucking Vriska later acknowledges that, well, she can't really deem Eridan, irredeemable, because, well, who is she to say that? And mind you, Vriska is a light player. Anything said by her, Aranea, or Rose should be taken as Hussey speaking to the audience. Light players are all about knowledge and truth, so anything they say is going to be Hussey speaking to us. He's literally looking at his fans, who continue to show this hate for one of his characters, and saying, well, who are we to say whether or not he can be redeemed? Everybody can. Fucking, even if Gamzee actually wanted redemption, he could still get it. Of course, he's not going to fucking want it, but it'd still be there.
No, he wouldn't want it.
Of course not. Fucking, no. Of course, fucking Gamzee's not going to want redemption.
He's busy serving a higher power. He's actually serving Lord English. Everyone forgives him for that, too.
Everyone forgives Gamzee for everything. Everyone forgives Tavros for being pathetic and annoying. Which, I guess, yes, opinion, and most people find him adorable, but they paint Eridan as a one-dimensional flirt machine when, if you look at it, Eridan's flirting just stems from a need to have some kind of friendship or relationship. And mind you, Cronus' flirting is literally entirely about getting laid. I mean, he wrote a song called Less Pale, More Pale. Fucking hell.
That's literally all that needs to be said on the matter.
Eridan, meanwhile, would have just wanted an actual relationship / friendship with somebody. It didn't need to actually have any quadrant related to it. I mean, it would have been preferable, but of course he didn't actually seek it out. Anyway, let's move on to the epilogue. Basically, Eridan Empora is a victim of the audience and all of the people around him. One of the many trolls, because everyone in Homestuck is actually just a very tragic character, but the one whose tragedy doesn't get realized because the fandom has arbitrarily decided that he's going to be the character that people hate. I mean, look at that amazing fucking outfit. A cape, a scarf, amazing purple streak, and the fucking wand. Everything about Eridan's outfit just speaks fucking awesome. But he was arbitrarily decided that, we're going to hate him. And mind you, the way the fandom treats him is literally the same way the trolls treated him. If Eridan was a real character, the exact same fucking thing would happen. He would still flip his shit, he would still allow all of his hope to be destroyed, and move on to destroy hope because, well, I guess all these people really do fucking hate me. Well, why should I still be here? Anyway, we've spent the past 30 minutes hoping to send a message that Eridan Empora's life truly was an ugly story.
Of course.
I have been April.
I have been Eridan Empora.
He has been
A cat.
a cat.
A cat with glowing ears.
And
She has been a John human.
she has been a John human. Sayonara. We'll see you next time.
Watawa.